Hello everyone, my name is Shahab Josemi, and in this tutorial I'm going to talk about color dynamics, HSB, HEX, and RGB color system. And not only Photoshop, you can use and utilize this knowledge in any application or program that use the same color system. What we're going to cover in this tutorial is explaining HSB system, how it works, RGB color system, the relation between the two, HEX codes and its relation with RGB color, and how to practically use this knowledge in action. In advance, I'm sorry for my poor English. Please bear with me, and without any further ado, let's hit the color picker. On the color picker, we can see the main panel, the main bar, or at least that's how I like to call them. HSB color system, RGB color system, HEX codes, LAB color system, and CMYK print colors. And here we have a current color and new color. Current color is the color we are selecting right now. Here it was my foreground color. Maybe you use a vector shape and it will be the color on that vector shape. First, I'm going to cover HSB color system because it's a very good one. It's like a gold color system and you can use it pretty easily. It's so accurate and you can create different color or different color pairings using it. H stands for hue, S for saturation, and B for brightness. The H is active, as you can see. It means the main bar is H, is our hue. By changing the H value, you can change the color tone. As you can see, when I drag this up, the number increases. And in front of the number, you can see a small circular icon. This tiny circular icon indicates degrees because this bar is actually a wheel, a ring, and it loops. As you can see in my background color wheel, it starts from red at the bottom, then goes to yellow, then green, blue, and etc. all the way around until it reaches red again. See? 350, 359, and then 360. 360 is the same as 0 because they're the same colors. So the H stands for color tone, S stands for saturation. Let's say we have red color here, okay? The hue is 0, the saturation is 100%. It means maximum. As I drag this pointer here in the main panel towards the left, the S decreases and the color fades away because it's losing its saturation all the way till it's white in this case, or gray in other cases, and black. And when I drag it back towards right, the color comes back and gets stronger. And B stands for brightness. As I drag this down, it gets darker all the way until it reaches 0 or black. And when I drag this up, it lightens up. So saturation left to right and brightness up and down. Now if we click on the radio button beside S, things change. Saturation becomes the main bar and brightness stands still, as you can see, but hue switches places with saturation from left to right. From left it's 0, and as I move it towards the right, H increases until it loops again. And when I click on brightness, this bar, the main bar, becomes brightness bar, and hue stands in the same place, and saturation goes in brightness's place. I can change saturation by dragging the pointer up and down and up again. Brightness is on our main bar. How is switching between H, S, and B is useful? Let's say you want to choose a pastel color, but you don't know what color exactly you want. So let's say we choose saturation and we want a pastel color around 40% of saturation. You can see you have a wide range of pastel colors. You can easily select anything you want. Any color, let's say lime green, green, bluish, azure, deep blue, purple, magenta, pink, or whatever you want. You can simply choose it. Or even more darker types of pastel colors. It's easy to choose in this system, in this mode. So you can use it as your preference and your needs. Now let's talk about the relation between HSB and RGB, or better say HUE and RGB color system. As we know, RGB stands for red, green, and blue. So how is it related to H? Obviously because they're all colors. They're different color tones, red, green, and blue. I drag this bar towards down and H is 0. Let's say I choose pure red color with 100% saturation and 100% brightness. As you can see, red is filled up all the way up to 255. In RGB mode, each color has a value between 0 as none all the way up to 255 as the maximum amount of color. They add up to 256 colors. Let's for now I turn on the degree system here. So as you can see in the color wheel on my background, 0 or 360 is red, 120 is green, and 240 degrees is blue. It's the relation between the hue ring and the RGB colors. Let's try it. I input 120, and as you can see, green is filled all the way up. Or 240, blue fills up. What if we break it even more, like 60? 60 is yellow, and yellow is a mixture of red and green. Both are maxed out. 180 is cyan, a mixture of green and blue to their maximum power. And 300, it's magenta. It's the maximum amount of red and blue. As simple as that. And if we break it even more, let's say we have less blue here, like 127. It adds up 30 more degrees to the color. Rose pink, or at least that's what I call it. Let's try it. 30 is full red, half green, orange. 60 is both are filled up. 90 is half red, full green, the exact opposite. And it's lime green or You call it whatever you want, I'm not sure. 120 is no red and full green. And as I add more to it, half blue adds up, full blue, and then green reduces. We get azure. No green at all, pure blue. And then we have half the way up, red, and we get purple. And then we get magenta, full blue, full red. No blue decreases, and no blue at all. As you can see, it's all graphic, it's all mathematical, and they're all related. Now let's click on red. The main bar turns into the amount of red, as you can see here, and the left panel is the mixture of green and blue if we have red. See? Pure blue, pure green. If we drag this pointer here on our main panel towards upside, we add more green to our color until we get yellow. Orange is halfway, red. And if we drag it towards right, we get rose pink, then magenta. And if we go diagonally towards up, it's adding both of them to our color. One thing about RGB color is that they're additive colors. Means if we add red, green, and blue to our combination, the more we have, the brighter the color is. See? The more I turn it up, it goes towards white until it's pure white. But if we reduce any of these numbers, it gets more color and less light to it, and it gets darker. And the more we reduce the last color we have here, it goes all black. So red is our main bar, up is green, right is blue. If we click green, it's the same. Green is our main bar. The more we go up, it's red. Towards right, it's blue. And if we click on blue, towards up is green, and towards right is red. Now let's step back a little bit. Remember when I told you HSB Color System is the easiest one? Why? Why is that? Let's say you are an user interface designer and you have a button. It's my button here. And the button is like a random color, let's say whatever it is. Okay. And you want a hover mode for it. I call it idle, and this one hover. Okay. What color would you choose for this one? You want it a little bit brighter? Using HSB color, you can add to brightness. I add 10 times to it, and idle, hover, idle, hover. Or maybe I want it a little bit darker. I can simply choose it by adding or reducing from brightness. Or maybe I want it a little bit bluish or a little bit more cyan. Let's say this is our color and I want it a little bit towards cyan. Here it is. Cyan, blue, cyan. Or maybe you want less saturation for it. I duplicate it, hover, and I reduce the saturation. Idle, hover, idle, hover. So basically you can choose any color and change it a little bit as you please towards your needs. It's pretty useful, guys. Please, if you haven't used HSB Color System, try it now. You won't regret it. I promise you that. Or let's say you have the blue color here. Let me press OK. You have this color here, and you're looking for a pairing color for it, but not exactly a little bit brighter, a little bit darker or something like that, but another color that can match this one for hour, and you're going to be artistic about it, not mathematical. Okay, I click color picker and then we have bluish, so I click on blue and I can choose anything around it, maybe this color or this color, and it gives it a nice touch, or maybe something more pinkish towards purple. Idle, hover, idle, and hover. This is why you can choose anything from red main, green main, blue main, hue, saturation, or brightness. It's easy. It makes life easier if you understand how they work. Now let's talk about the relation between RGB color and hex codes. And what are hex codes? Hex codes are codes that consist of 6 numbers or letters, and these numbers are based on hexadecimal system, which means instead of 0 to 9 and then adding 1 point to the next number reaching 10, instead of 10 it's 16. You go from 0 to 9 and then it's A, B, C, D, E, F, and then you can add another number to it and F reaches 0 again, and you can add one single number to the next number. I hope you understand me. If you don't, let me show this to you. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 in standard numbers, and 10 is 0 plus 1. Alright? But in hexadecimal it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we have 1, 0. Then we have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, 1F, and 20. So actually 10 is 16 and 20 is 32. And we have from 00 to FF, which makes it 16 by 16. It adds up to 256. Doesn't it ring a bell? RGB colors also use 256 values. Basically, hex is a 6-digit hexadecimal number, and it's a code which represents a color combination that can be used in HTML, CSS, application, and a vast number of programs which support hex color system, but mostly around the web. This combination is red, green, and blue, the RGB system, as the first 2 digits indicate the value of red, but hexadecimal value of red. The 2 in the middle are green, and the last couple are for blue. So as you can see, if we increase the red value, only the first 2 digits increase or decrease. If you change the green value, you can see the couple of middle numbers change, and the last one is for blue, as you can see here. But it's confusing how 70 stands for 125 and 44 stands for 68. How do we convert these together? Let's say we have 70 and we want to convert it into standard number. Okay, it's hexadecimal. We get the first left side number, it's 7, and multiply it by 16, it's 112. Then we have D. D stands for what? We have 0 as first number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Instead of 10, we say A, B 11, C 12, D 13, E 14, and F 15. Plus 0, it's 16 numbers. So D is 13 plus 13. We have 125, which is our red color. Now let's try it again for the middle one, 44. 4 multiplied by 16, it's 64. Plus 4, it's 68. And then we have 4C. 4 multiplied by 16, it's 64. And then we have C, which is 12. Plus 12, it's 76. As simple as that, you can convert hexadecimal numbers into RGB colors. Now let's say we have a random color. Let's say FFCC like 12. What color is this? Okay, FF stands for red, which is 256, but we have 0, so we reduce 1 from this, it's 255. CC, C is 12, 12 multiplied by 16, and then plus 12, it's 204, I think. And we have 12 for blue, and it's 16 plus 2, 18. Let's see what color this might be. We have full red and around 80% of green and a little bit of blue. If we had full green, it would be pure yellow, okay? But we have less green here, so it tends to go towards red. I say it's amber because 20% towards red, yeah, it's amber. And then we have 18 value of blue, which brightens it up and reduces the saturation. Let's try it. FFCC 12, FFCC 12. Let's talk about it. We have 255 red, 204 green, and 18 blue. And it's amber. It's not totally orange, it's not yellow, it's amber-ish. And the 12 brightens it up a little bit. Let's make the 12 or reduce the 18 and see what happens. It goes towards right and less brightness but more saturated version of amber. Now let's talk about other combinations of RGB. We talked about red and green, green and blue, blue and red. But what if we want a combination of all three colors? As we talked before, when we add to the third color, it brightens up the whole combination. But what if we want something like white, black, or gray? Look here, RGB. As I move the scroller down, the very exact same numbers. See? And the very exact same combination of two numbers here. Because when we add all three numbers, they neutralize each other's effect, yet it's additive color, so it brightens up. Let's say we have 80 red, 80 green, and 80 blue. See what happens? I show you what happens behind these numbers and why do they make white as we add to the numbers. See, the more we go up, the brighter the brightness gets. Look at the HSB system. The brightness reduces as I scroll it down, and all RGB colors also reduce down. They're related. How? This is 100 parts and this is 256 parts. So basically every 2.56 points makes up one brightness. Because we don't have subdecimal numbers here, it rounds the number. Let's go higher, like 50 multiplied by 2.56. It's 128, the exact number we have for RGB. Why this happens? Why do they make gray, black, and white? Why don't they add more color to each other? How does that work? Now let's play a very short but fun game to understand how the RGB mixture works. I select red, full red, no green, no blue. I take a screenshot, press OK. Control N for new file, paste it here. Sorry, wide screen. And then I choose green, no red, full green. Another screenshot, press OK and paste it here, and repeat the same for blue. The screenshots, press OK and paste it here. I zoom here, select the rectangular marquee tool and click, press and hold Shift to make it 1:1 ratio and leave it here. I press C for cropping. I make sure the delete cropped pixels is selected, enter and enter. Now we have the screenshot of all RGB system colors. I extend the canvas like 600 and 600, make the background black. To do that, I hold Alt and backspace. Let's name it blue, green, and red. I turn every single one of them into a smart objects because I'm a control freak. So when I change anything inside these three layers, later on I can continue the change or reset the change without hurting the actual images. Let's say we have red. The color handle is on the lower left. I press Ctrl T for free transform and hold Ctrl and Shift and drag down and get a perfect 30 degrees shearing or skew. Then I select blue. See, the blue is on the left and violet is on the right. And I want it to be flipped horizontally. To do that, you can either press Ctrl T and give the width a negative number, or you can go to Edit, Transform, and Flip Horizontal. Whichever you're used to would work. I press Ctrl T again and minus 30 degrees. Press OK. I align the edges together. I zoom in because I'm a little bit freaky about being precise. Then I select the green. I place it on the top. I press Ctrl T, rotate it 135 degrees. See, the white is down. I set the edges together and drag it towards both left and right. I zoom in to make it precise. Look at the free transform boundaries. It's diamond because I made it a smart object. What if it wasn't a smart object? What if it was a raster layer? It would look like rectangle, and if I did that, still it would be rectangle. But when it's a smart object, it preserves the transform, the colors, everything, every single thing. That's why I made it a smart object. But now I'm done with a smart object. I want it rasterized. I press Ctrl T again, hold Alt and Shift, so it transforms on Y axis, and make it like this. And I want it to be flipped, so the blue would be with blue and yellow with the yellow. Edit, transform, and flip horizontal, and tada, we're done. Not quite precise as I expected, but let's fix it. Yeah, now it's precise. We have a RGB cube. Now let's talk about how the combination of RGB works. Let's make the background color Photoshop background color gray, so I can show it to you inside the editor via some basic animations. Now let me summon my minions to help me with the explanation. My angry white goblins, I summon thee inside this canvas to do some chores for me. Okay. Here we have 3 angry goblins, and they're fighting over some ropes, so the winner can have some prizes from me, their master. Now let's see what happens when we have a different combination of colors. Let's open the color picker. I place it here, doesn't matter. Let's say we have 255 red and same for blue. The color is violet. And as I decrease the amount of blue, see what happens? And vice versa. It's the very same for red and green. As green reduces, it moves more towards red, and vice versa. Less red, more green. And same for green and blue. Less blue, more green, or less green, more blue. But what happens if we add all 3? Let's say we have all 3 filled up. It's white, it's exactly at the center. If one side, for example red, loses its power, it tends towards the cyan, the place between green and blue. Why? Because they have the same amount of power. Now if green loses its power, it tends towards blue, and vice versa. It's the same for every part. Let's say green loses its power, it moves down towards the violet part, the purple part. And now blue loses some power, it tends to go towards red side of the screen. See, it's that simple. You can always imagine this. Now let's see how all this information can come in handy in life and death situation. And by that I mean situations like, let's say, you have to match some colors on your work and you're short on time. Let's close this. No, I don't want to say that. Let's say we have a border by a random color. Let's say this, whatever it is. And this is our border, and I have to paste this shape that I have already copied from one of my frame drawings, and it's in grayscale, and I want to set its color matched with the one of the border. And I want to use color balance for it. Let me move it here, right here. And then I press Ctrl B for color balance. You might have a great talent for mixing colors together, but I don't have such a skill. So one option that I have is to play around these sliders until I get the colors right. Or I can use the information we have about the colors, and instead of wasting some time, go straight towards the right direction. I close the color balance, take color picker and select the color of my border and look at its hue. It's 27, which is a color between red and yellow, more towards red, and the brightness is 76%. Okay, now let's see. I press Ctrl L to see the levels of its brightness, and it's almost here, around 68 maybe. So I change it a little bit to make it brighter. Before, after. I press Ctrl B again, so we have to play with red and yellow. I increase the red and increase the yellow. More red to it, a little bit more. Ta-da! I hope that I didn't bore you with the video being so long. Hopefully it comes in handy for you in the future. If you like the video, you know what to do, like, subscribe, comment, etc. If you didn't, feel free to press dislike, and in the comment section let me know the reason, so it might help me with the future videos.